this was baseball, Scott Perry's first at bat as general manager was a hit. This football, this was a first down. And what I'm talking about is drafting Nique Clifford at the 24th pick. Not only drafting Nique Clifford at 24, trading into the first round when you didn't have a first round pick at all. Trading into the first round to get Nique Clifford for was a protected draft pick and a bag of chips. Getting Nique Clifford at 24 was a steal, and it was big time. And we go talk about why that is so in this episode in the Bleav In Kings podcast. I'm your host, Mark Haynes, and let's get straight to it. Now, if you guys don't already know, Nique Clifford is a 6'5" wing out of Colorado State. His senior year in college, he put up 19 points, 9.6 boards, 4.4 assists. Made first team All Mountain West, defensive team, won tournament MVP, all that stuff. Like he was solid at Colorado State. And what that tells me is that, like I said before, I like older college players. Not only are they a little more, I think they're a little more intelligent. I think they're also a little more ready to produce at the NBA level. And in this summer league, that's exactly what Nique Clifford showed. Like, last episode, I believe, or 2 episodes, whatever the case may be, I compared him to, Jalen Williams of OKC, who just won a championship, who came out 3 years into, his college career. Trey Murphy was a senior, I believe, senior or junior, but same thing. Not one and done guys is my point. Those guys come in and they're just a little more ready to play. And that's what the Kings needed. They needed a guy that could come in. They needed, we all talked about how they needed, more wings and more guys who could, bigger players, although, the big need is the big need, public need is a point guard, right? And we'll talk about that a little bit in this episode as well. But that's been the big thing. But let's talk about Vegas some and what's been going on in Las Vegas at NBA Summer League. Cause Nique Clifford, like he's out there showing out. He's doing his thing. He translated his college game into the pros. Although this isn't it's NBA Summer League, so it's other rookies and guys in the G League and overseas guys or whatever, whatnot. It's still professional basketball. And in 4 games, he's averaging 18.5 points, 6.5 rebounds, and 5 assists, while shooting 53% from deep. Now, the thing that's impressive to me is, and I'm not surprised at this part, is how he's doing it, his maturity. I remember the first game, and I was there for his first game, and he started off slow. I think he had maybe 5 points in the first half, and I think he finished with 18. You do the math, was that 13 in the second half, and then basically he hit the go ahead. I think it was the game tying bucket and the go ahead bucket right after making the game time bucket and essentially closed the game out. But he's doing it. He's mature, and I think that's the type of things and performances you get out of mature players. He's poised, he's been efficient, and he's confident. And that's something that I talked with his agent, Todd Ramazar. I talked with him and I asked him, I just said, and I'm taking you inside of my conversation with some agents or whatever. I just said, did y'all know this what the Sacramento Kings were getting? And he basically was like, absolutely. Like we knew. And, the Kings gave him an opportunity to show his talents, and he's not surprised at all. And I'm paraphrasing, but that's basically what he told me. And when you look at what he's doing in summer league, he's out there playing like he knew he would do this, just given the right opportunity. And I think the Sacramento Kings. I think this is a really, really good draft. I think this is a really, really good pickup. You know, One of his best games, I Bleav, was his last game was against it was against the Cavs. Summer League, there's so many games, y'all. There's so many games. I don't know if y'all follow it because it happened during the week and y'all could be at work, whatever. But just being there, I'm seeing about at least 5 games a day or whatever, and it's every day. So so I Bleav the Cavs game was the last game, but he dropped 19 points, 9 assists, and 7 boards, nearly a triple double as a rookie. You know what I mean? This is a dude when he got picked, when the Kings drafted him and they traded up, when Scott Perry traded up to get him. I don't think this was a celebratory moment at first. It was just like, it was welcoming. That's what it was. I felt like people welcomed Nique Clifford. It was like when you have a team and like AAU or something, you're having tryouts. Everybody's welcome to try out. And I felt like that's how Nique was treated at first. It was like, yeah, we got a first round pick. Let's see what he can do. Not it's not like getting that guy that you're gonna, I'm gonna waive all your fees and pay for everything so you can play here or whatever. It wasn't like we gotta have this dude, but it was welcoming, like, welcome to Sacramento. I hope you do well. And he came out and he played like the guy who's getting the red carpet rolled out for him, like he's, the chosen one. Cause he's had, like I said, I read the stats earlier. He's having an amazing, you know, um, NBA summer league. He's not only just having an amazing summer league, he's having one of the best. To me, he's a top 2 rookie in this summer league, and he ain't number 2. I'll say that. And I ain't even gonna bring up the other names in there, but I'm saying this dude need the he's the best. He looks like, and I'm not going to, because once the season starts, things change. His role will change. Obviously, he'll play, with DeMar DeRozan, Zach LaVine, Demonis Sabonis, and Keegan Murray, all those guys or whatever. So things will change. But at NBA Summer League, from what I seen, and as great as Cooper Flag is, Cooper Flag is a beast. I think he's going to be a star in this league. But in these 4 games where the Sacramento Kings are 4-0, he's been the best rookie. He's been the most consistent. He's been the most impactful, but he's been the best rookie. And being the best rookie is not where it stops. That's not where it stops. Nique Clifford could be the 3rd Sacramento King to ever do this. And when I say that, I mean win MVP of Summer League. If he wins the MVP, which he's in the running. He's definitely in the running at this point. It's a very good chance of him winning the award. He definitely will make first team, all summer league or whatever. He definitely will be on that. It'll be a robbery if he didn't. But I think he's going to win MVP. And if he wins MVP, he will be the 3rd Sacramento King ever to do it, joining Davion Mitchell, who did it in 2021, and Keegan Murray, who did it in 2023, both as rookies. And you look at, what Davion has become or whatever. Obviously, he's been traded to multiple teams. His time in Sacramento ended on a rocky, note, but he was established, and he's still established as one of the elite defensive players on ball, especially in the NBA. He's a guy, Kevin Durant just talked about him in I think it was the Mind the Game podcast where, if you're 6'2" and under, you got to be a dog like Davion Mitchell. And to get, called out by a guy like Kevin Durant or whatever, that shows how much you're respected in this league. And then we all know what, the world, thinks about Keegan Murray and his potential future. Keegan Murray is a guy, he went number 4 pick. He's a guy that broke the rookie season record for most threes made by a rookie ever. We know that he has the ability to shoot. Last season, he showed he had the ability to defend at a high level. I think he had one of the players shot the lowest field goal percentage against him, like when guarded by him. I think he might have been number 1, but he was probably top 3, on the defensive end. He stepped it up and rebounded. His future is bright. And if Nique Clifford can join those guys, that Scott Perry, that hit I was talking about, it could be a hit that, maybe it was supposed to be a single, but it turned into, he turned it into a double. Nique Clifford would be the one turning it into a double. It may be, like the reference I made at the beginning about being a first down. Maybe the second play is another first down. Maybe it's back-to-back first downs. Maybe we're up to 20 yards. But all that we do know is, Scott Perry took a swing on this. He made a move on this, and he felt good about trading into the first round. Not trading up, trading into the first round and grabbing Clifford. And Clifford is doing all the right things in Las Vegas right now. He's proven he belongs. He looks like a vet amongst rookies out there. And like I said, I wouldn't be surprised if he take home the MVP. If you're a Kings fan, I think you should be excited. I think you should be very excited. I think Clifford can help the team this year. I think he could be a rotation guy, every single night. And I think he could have some solid performances that will make the 916 very, very proud. And there's still, gaps in the roster, as we know. There's still this need for a point guard on the roster. Or is this a need where somebody just needs to step up? The Sacramento Kings, obviously signed Dennis Schroeder. Was it a sign and trade to get him or whatever? Was it a sign and trade? Look at that. Hold on, I'm tripping myself out. But they got Dennis Schroeder because that was such a this year free agency has been so weird. It's a bunch of guys out that's still available right now that any other year they would have been picked up, and it has nothing to do with their performance, but it's CBA stuff and rules and all that, and blah blase blase. But anyways, Dennis Schroeder is on the Sacramento Kings, and he's expected, I believe, to be the starting point guard. But they still, lack point guard depth, or do they? Because when you look at what else is happening in Las Vegas, is Devin Carter, last year's 13th pick. He missed all of last summer recovering from shoulder injury, excuse me. So obviously missing all last summer means you didn't play. He didn't play in his rookie summer league. He didn't play for a huge chunk of the NBA season. So this year, he's playing and he's healthy and he's hooping like he wants the king point guard position. Like he's hooping like he wants to show that he belongs. He's hoop he's hooping like if Dennis Schroeder doesn't pan out, I'm here. Don't overlook me. I'm a point guard. I'm athletic. I can shoot. Cause what like that was the thing that was kind of how do I say? I guess people may have been disappointed in last year, or even when they picked him. It was like he's not really a shooter. But in the summer league, in 4 games, I'm gonna read y'all his stat line. Carter is putting up 16 and a half points, 4.5 boards, 3.5 assists, and 2 steals per game. And he's shooting the three at 41%. I like that. Now, if you can do that in the regular season, and mainly, obviously, the Kings are not going to look for him to average 16 on a team that has Zach LaVine, DeMar DeRozan, Demonis Sabonis. You're not expecting him to average 16, but he can get 4 boards, or it's all subject to how much he plays. But the 4 boards is possible. The 3.5 assists is possible. The 2 steals on defense is possible, and the 41% from three is all possible. And what I mean by possible, I mean it's doable. There's room, even if you get 2 shots a game, you can shoot 40% from three. And if we go down the list, I don't have a list in front of me, so I'm not gonna go down the list. But if we go down the list, I'm sure the guys that shoot 40% from three or better, I don't care how many you attempt, but 40% or better, I'm pretty sure those guys are playing on a regular. I'm pretty sure. So if he can do that, I think minutes at the point guard position will be available. If he can do that and continue to play defense, continue to, develop and get better in other parts of his game, maybe the Kings don't need a point guard. Maybe the Kings, maybe when Scott Perry says, maybe he knows it. Cause I'm, like I'm really focus in on what I think is the brilliance of Scott Perry. I think he is brilliant to go get Nique Clifford, Maxime Reynaud. Like I think he made brilliant moves and people don't know it. But maybe this is like Scott Perry playing this mind game with his players and saying we need a point guard. When he says the first, that's a big thing that we're going to go after and try to get. We're trying to get where we need a point guard. That doesn't necessarily mean we're looking to trade for a point guard. That could mean we need somebody to step up and take this point guard role. We need somebody to develop into the point guard that we need. And Devin Carter being another older uh, rookie coming in, he's an older second year player. He comes from a family of basketball, which his dad, Anthony Carter, played in the NBA, and now he's also a coach. Was it for the Memphis Grizzlies, I believe? Maybe Devin Carter received this message correctly. Maybe when Devin Carter heard Scott Perry in his introduction interview say that we need a point guard, he said, I got you, coach. I'm that guy. and I'm gonna show you. And it's gonna start at NBA Summer League, which I think so far, I think he's got off on the right foot. From my understanding, all summer long during the off season, Devin Carter has been in the gym. Devin Carter has been working and preparing to try to take the next step here in Sacramento. Does that mean because I'm saying that all this is going to happen and all this is going to come to be, true? Like, I don't know. We have to see. Moves can still be made, but I do think he's showing his value in the summer league, and I was impressed with what I saw. I'll say that. Does that mean anything as far as, big picture goes? I don't know. We have to see. Have to see how things play out. But what I can say right now is shout out to Nique Clifford and props to Devin Carter for coming back like he's never left. Taking advantage of this summer league opportunity. And Scott Perry, shout out to Scott Perry. This base hit, he might have turned it into, with running speed. I don't know what his 40 time was back in the day, but to me it looks like this base hit of drafting Nique Clifford at 24 and the way Nique is performing at Summer League, I think they turning a base hit into a double. That's what I think. And when you're building a franchise that is going to be good, and I think the term Scott Perry uses a lot is sustainable. Um, what is it? I can't. I'm drawing a blank right now. Sustainable winning, I believe, something like that. In order to build that, it takes a lot of hits. And if you get enough hits, let's see, if you get 3 hits, the bases is loaded, and that's just if you get 3 singles, the bases is loaded. You get a fourth, you score a run. Then that's all you want to do. You want to get singles. Go for singles. You don't gotta go for the home runs, because what happens in baseball when you're looking for singles and you making good contact, one of them things is go fly out the park. And that's gonna be a grand slam. And you know, you don't look for it. They're rare to an extent. But if you understand baseball, if you understand sports in general, you want to just do things on a positive note. And that's what I think General Manager Scott Perry has done. And the Sacramento Kings, their summer league team, is in the playoffs. Do we call this the playoffs? The summer league playoffs or whatever, or tournament? The semifinals. I think it's the tournament. But they're in the semifinals. They're undefeated, playing against the Raptors. Should be a good game. I think they got AJ Lawson and I forget the other guy that's balling for the Raptors. But it should be a good game. It's another game for the big three of Nique Clifford, Devin Carter, Maxime Reynaud to show out and put on for the city. And for those of you who haven't been there, at Summer League in Vegas, the Light the Beam chance is out there. When the game is over, you start hearing it. I'm sure y'all seen clips where, some of my colleagues have asked, the players about, the Light the Beam chant. Now, it's definitely not how it is in Sacramento, but you definitely hear it. And another thing, before we get out, the Sacramento Kings they played 4 games, right? They had arguably the biggest standout in summer league in this year's summer league, which is Nique Clifford. And the Sacramento Kings didn't get one single game in the big gym. And I think it was Thomas Mack. All their games were played in the pavilion, which is like the practice facility off to the side or whatever. So, it ain't the practice facility, but it's the old gym, I believe. Small gym. We just said small gym Every game was in the small gym. The Kings had to earn their way, fight for their respect to get a single game in the big gym, and that's going to come because of the play of Nique Clifford and the winning that those guys are doing to get into this tournament. Now, I wouldn't be surprised. Don't be surprised if the Kings are Summer League champs because I think Nique Clifford, I think he has another gear that he could get into, but he's done enough. I just say that. We ain't got to put no Summer League pressure, but I just want to throw that out there. I don't know if y'all knew, but yeah, the Kings didn't get any respect out there on the scheduling. They stuck the Kings in the small gym the whole summer. Feel like at least every team should at least get one game somehow in the big gym. But hey, I don't make the calls, and neither do the Sacramento Kings. But they went and did their job. They won 4 games. Now they're in the tournament, and we'll see what happens. But this, like I said, Nique Clifford, Devin Carter, they're doing their thing. They're doing their thing. I like what I see from both of them. They both have an opportunity to contribute this year, and we'll see what happens. But I just wanted to jump on here, give you guys an episode. Y'all know me. Y'all know where to find me. Mark Haynes, NBA, pretty much everywhere. My YouTube channel, we're the closers. That's what, if y'all seen that switch, it's gonna switch from Mark Haynes NBA to the closers. Got more announcements coming later, but just wanted to tap in with you guys and hope y'all have a great weekend because I plan on it. But this is the Bleav In Kings podcast. Catch me here every week, multiple times a week. Y'all know the routine, but I'm going to get out of here. Mark Haynes, Bleav In Kings. Till next time, I'm out.